Hello, everyone. My name is Carice Thompson. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Treasurer's Office in our Unclaimed Property Division. Thank you for joining us online today for our 2026 Utah Unclaimed Property Webathon. We appreciate your help raising awareness about unclaimed property and reconnecting Utahns with their lost money. Today's webinar is about encouraging all people to search for unclaimed property that may belong to them, their family members, businesses, or even charitable organizations in their communities. Every year, millions of dollars are waiting to be claimed, and our goal is to help get that money back to where it belongs. And I want to thank Ginette Bott. You are the president of the Utah Food Bank and CEO, correct?
Correct.
And so we have a great guest on our hands today, the president and CEO of the Utah Food Bank, Ginette Bott, someone who understands the need of everyday Utahns who are struggling and looking for essentially their next meal. So with that being said, Ms. Bott, or Mrs. Bott, excuse me, our first question is, tell me about the Utah Food Bank and what you do in our communities across the state.
So the Utah Food Bank, we are an independent 501c3. We are an affiliate of a group called Feeding America, which is over 200 food banks across the country. And through that affiliation, we are assigned territories or areas that we are responsible for, and we were assigned the entire state of Utah. We have had that partnership since the mid-90s, but the Utah Food Bank has been operating since 1904. So the goal of the food bank is to utilize all 29 counties as distribution areas. We have over 300 partner agencies, which are food pantries, technically, that we distribute food to. You can't come to the Utah Food Bank and get food because we distribute it then to a pantry or a partner. They distribute it to the end user. The great thing about the Utah Food Bank is we fundraise at a very high level, and we make sure that all the food that's distributed in the state of Utah goes out free of charge. So anytime we can find extra money, especially lost money that we didn't know we had, that's a great help because you'll always hear me ask for three things here: food, time, and money.
Thank you for that. So how significant of an issue is food insecurity in Utah?
Currently right now in the state of Utah, there are about 500,000 people who don't know where their next meal comes from. That covers the entire state. Situations look different, whether we have folks who are in a city who have access to a nearby pantry, or, versus someone who's in a rural area of our state that has to travel many miles to get to a pantry. But unfortunately, out of that 500,000 people, 1 in 5 of those are children. So we know that hunger covers the broad range of the spectrum of folks in Utah. We know we watch out for our kids, we watch out for our seniors. We just recognize that there really is no excuse or reason why anyone in Utah should be going hungry.
And so how have this year's needs compared to other years in the past?
Since COVID hit us, all of us, it impacted, every single one of us in some degree. But it seems like families have been struggling since COVID to try to return to what was a normal financial stability for a family. We know during COVID that jobs and businesses closed up overnight and jobs were gone. We know that people struggled for many months with health issues. It just continued to snowball for families. And they were just starting to kind of get back on their feet when we started to have other issues occurred. We had issues with SNAP benefits, and then we had government closures. We just seem to have challenges that are really impeding families without even adding on the situation of inflation, house and the cost of owning a home in Utah. We have issues here with a really expensive daycare. So when you think about no affordable housing, expensive daycare, gas prices now have gone up. We've been watching grocery prices go up year after year. It's like these people are struggling, and families are working. Most of the families we serve, both parents are working, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs. It's not like they're not trying. It's just that everything is just so difficult to obtain on a small budget and a tight budget. So we find numbers are continuing to go up. Some parts of the states are more difficult and the numbers are higher than others, but we're seeing an added need across the entire state of Utah.
Said you have a powerful story about your personal experience with the Utah Food Bank. Would you be willing to share a little bit about your story and what this organization, Utah Food Bank, means to you?
Sure, sorry, and I apologize. My computer is doing a little dance of its own. My apologies. I think for any of us who in our lifetime, as we look back, we've had challenging times, be it divorce, be it, being a single parent. That was my situation, living in a small town that didn't have a pantry. It was very difficult for me having kids, trying to find a way to do all the things that a single parent had to do, and then not having services in a community that could help you. So now as I come through, and I'm many years past that, my children are raised, but it just has given me an appreciation of that experience of how difficult this is for a family, whether it be two parents or be it grandparents raising grandkids or individuals, regardless of the circumstance. If the service isn't there, it's hard for you to survive. So for me, it's really heartfelt knowing that I experienced it firsthand myself. And now being here at the food bank and being able to help families so that they can have a little peace of mind and know that they have access to food that's good, that's healthy, that will help their families and their children. It means the world to me because I would have given anything years ago to have that kind of help for me and my children.
Stories like that reminds me of the strength of all of us, the strength of yourself and humanity, and the reality of why a place like the Utah Food Bank is needed. So a little bit about unclaimed property now that we've got the fun part. What was your experience like working with the Utah Unclaimed Property Division? In terms of how would you describe your experience with the claims process?
It was a really easy process, and it was based on the fact that I felt like people there really wanted us to benefit from the services they were offering. You have to go through all sorts of steps for almost anything you do, whether it's online shopping or whether it's going to the bank or whatever it is. But these steps were easy. They were able to help. They were able to assist. And it would have been a process that we wouldn't have been able to have done alone. So it's a great, really, example of collaboration and partnership. When groups and individuals can work together, your department and mine, the success is great. The lost funds were found, returned, and made an impact for families here in Utah with us being able to provide additional food.
Well, to now just there's a perfect leeway into the next question, which would be your guys' last claim was a little bit over $2,500. How many families will $2,500 serve Utahns?
The amount of money that we received will help probably 7 families of 4 for about a 3-month period of time. So it is a big deal. It is important. And each of those dollars mean a lot to us as an organization, but they mean so much more to the family that's the recipient of the services that we provide. So those families, 4 members in each one of 7 families, would have been struggling had we not been able to complete this process and have those monies returned to the Utah Food Bank.
So now, how would you like to spread the word with this when we ask, what would you like Utahns to understand about the unclaimed property and how it can benefit individuals and businesses and nonprofits? What would you like Utahns to understand about that?
Well, I think they need to recognize this as a service. It's information that can be easily obtained. Once the information is verified and you see that it impacts you or your organization, the steps that you can take are simple to do. You've got help on the other end. The department is there to help you and assist you. The one thing I would say that, the biggest mistake is not taking time to go through that process. It's available, it's easy to do. And I would really, really advise people to carefully look at those lists when we see them and have the ability to see if it impacts us directly. The outcome can be very easy and it can be very successful and can also be very rewarding.
One question to you is, what would you say to Utahns Utah businesses and charities who assume there's no chance that they can have unclaimed property waiting for them.
I think, regardless of the amount, this was probably one thing that, we wouldn't have even thought of. I mean, it's something that doesn't really occur to you in a business setting, perhaps as much as it would as an individual. But I would say take just a minute, regardless of who you are. Ironically, it was our CFO that was able to take a look at the list and find that we were there. And so I would advise anyone within your ranks of your finance department, tell them to take a few minutes and take a good look. They might be pleasantly surprised.
Thank you, Ginette, for your time, for your dedication to everyday Utahns, for fighting food insecurity. I would say that you're one of those silent everyday heroes because the reality is everyone knows about, first responders. Never want to take anything away from first responders, but food bank also, from the pantries who distribute the food to you guys who are the central heart of the food pantries to get the food. You guys are the silent heroes of Utah, making sure that Utahns eat. And so, as a reminder to everyone watching, to participate in today's webathon, visit mycash.utah.gov, search your name, your family members, friends, businesses, or charities you care about, like the Utah Food Bank. Then tag 3 friends in the comments or on any of our webathon posts for a chance to win one of 15 Amazon gift cards. We appreciate your help with our online treasure hunt, and thank you.